Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Does Boxing. This live right here, is another breakdown of a division, and we're about to get into the super middleweight division. So, what I'm saying, y'all bear with me. Y'all make sure y'all come on in, ask your questions, what I'm saying, join to the conversation. Salute to everybody coming through, though. I do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Um, Salute to the playback as well. But we're going to get into this, man. Y'all know we just got the news of Terence Crawford announcing his retirement, right? Let me pull this up there. So Crawford, he just announced his retirement, coming off his victory over Canelo Alvarez to become undisputed super middleweight champion. Three division undisputed, 5 division world champion. Y'all know the accolades. It's crazy. So we like to go. Like, I understand he retired and that's whatever, and we're gonna have some nostalgic moments and all that good shit. But boxing is always on to the next. And this is the premise of this live right here. We want to talk about what's next with the title picture at 168. It's a lot of good fighters at 168, and we're going to cover them and see what's next. We're going to pull up the rankings. We're going to talk about some notable fighters that's close to world titles, you know what I'm saying? So opportunity. We're going to talk about the kind of like the older fighters, the guys that's still around. We're going to talk about the new crop of fighters. So we're going to have it all covered for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you tap in. Yes, sir. I just right on my alley when shit like this happen. I like to go to the rankings and see what's up. My man Just Do Boxing, what's good with you, bro? Robert Brown, salute. What's good with you? My bro Mike in the building, salute. What's good? You didn't expect it, man. I think this is like it's not a big shock to me, but because the reason why is because you've been hearing rumors about him fighting Canelo in a rematch and going to 160, and he been getting a lot of airplay since his win over Canelo. But if you really pay attention to shit, he wasn't gonna come back. But it's all good though. My man Z Pacino, what's good with you? Salute. So with Crawford leaving, he leaving, 4 vacant titles. We already understand about the WBC that he got stripped of that. But we're gonna touch on the other ones though. Winston Lee, what's good with you? All right, so I want to talk about some of, the top guys in the division. So Canelo Alvarez, we have to start with him. He's number one across the board, except for the IBF. And if he wants to, he can get a world title shot. Former undisputed champion, face of boxing, blah, 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 right? So he's definitely a guy that can be in contention for one of those vacant titles if he chooses to do so. Now he's coming off elbow surgery, and they said he's going to forego that May date. Cinco de Mayo being Canelo's date. So they say he's going to forego that and go to September and try to fight Crawford. But since that's off the table, will he try to come back Cinco de Mayo now? You know what I'm saying? So we'll have to see. But he's definitely one of the main players at super middleweight until he's retired or just take cash out fights. We know that Canelo is towards the end of his career. But the division is wide open now since Crawford is gone. So we'll see. All right. We're going to touch on some of the interim champions. We got 2. WBC interim champion Christian and Billy coming off a great fight. Fight of the year candidate with Lester Martinez. Could have went either way. Like, I'm not even mad at the draw. But and Billy been a long reigning contender for a long time. He finally became interim champion against Selecki last June, and then he had a great fight with Lester Martinez. So he's another guy that they should elevate him to full WBC champion. Let's keep it a buck since he's interim. But they already made an order for him to face Hamza Shiraz, and we're gonna get into that as we go along. But this another top name. WBA interim champion Jose Resendez coming off an upset of the year type candidate win over Caleb Plant. He's a guy, what I'm saying, kind of before he beat Caleb Plant, he just was like a regular old guy, right? He lost to Elijah Garcia, and he had some. I think he lost to Mad Marco Hernandez. So he just been a regular guy, but he got an opportunity and he actually beat Caleb Plant. And we're gonna touch more on him as we get into the rankings and stuff like that. All right, IBF mandatory challenger, who I think is the best fighter right now at 168. You know what I'm saying? With Crawford out the way, I have to say is Iglesias. I love Iglesias. He's a Cuban fighter based out of Germany. All his fights is in Canada. You know what I'm saying? He's with Eye of the Tiger. He's a stablemate of Christian and Billy. So he's a guy that definitely, out of everybody, the two guys I just mentioned, he's for sure fighting for a world title. His next fight, he's the IBF mandatory. And you know how they get down. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to see. We're going to talk more about him as well. Hamza Shiraz, he might be the biggest winner out of this and the guy with the most options. You know, he's a Frank Warren fighter. He's tapped in with Turkey Al-Sheikh. He's going to get a lot of opportunities just because of his affiliations. Coming off a knockout win over Edgar Berlanga in July. So his stock is rising high. And he probably the guy, like I said, other than Canelo, he might have the most options, you know what I'm saying, because he got the backing. So we got more on him. Diego Pacheco as well, coming off a tough win over Kevin Saljo, where he got dropped in the fight. Wasn't like the best fight stylistically, but he was able to weather the storm and win the fight pretty clear to me. Other than the knockdown, that was always the real trouble. So Pacheco he got high rankings as well. He won the WBC silver. He's like top 3 in the WBO. So yeah, that's another big name. Jaime Munguia, another one. So you know, he's been around for a long time. He's coming off a win over Bruno Socceris in a rematch where he got knocked out in the first fight. He tested positive for a banned substance. He got cleared by that. So he's available to fight. He's a big player right now, too. He can win a world title if he's in the right position. So yeah, he's still with Team Canelo. So let's see how they kind of navigate what he's going to do next. I expect him back sometime top of the year. I'm not sure if it's going to be like a little comeback fight in Mexico or he's going to step up and, because this opportunity is open, maybe he step up to a world title opportunity. We'll have to see. But Jaime is definitely a name that can, get some motion going on. Marlon Prince, what's good with you, bro? Salute. All right, my next one, Lester Martinez. So he's out of Team Crawford. You know, he trains with Bo Mack and Red and them. He had a great fight with Billy. He's like top 5 in the WBC. One of the best fighters in this division, a young guy. Um, so I'm looking forward to see if he's going to get in the mix. He's also a good name and a viable opponent to win a world title. And some people thought he actually beat Billy, which I can't argue either way. So Lester Martinez is another one. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, the next couple of people fighters I'm gonna talk about, they actually got fights coming up or they've been rumored to be in a fight. All right. So first one, Callum Simpson, he's fighting this week. He got some world rankings across the board as well. I won't rule out him getting the possibility at a world title, a vacant world title, depending on how the ball bounce. You know what I'm saying? There's guys in front of him. They may seek another route. Maybe if he wins against Troy Williamson on Saturday, Callum Simpson has an opportunity to fight for a vacant title as well. Another fight that's on the schedule in the super middleweight division, former world champion William Skull versus Jacob Bank. Both guys is world rated. You know what I'm saying? You know, William Skull coming off that trash performance against Canelo. Jacob Bank, he got the same manager as Tyson Fury, Spencer Brown. So he can be in position for some good fights if he wins. So they fight January the 31st on the zone. So had to speak on that. And then these two right here, Charlo versus Plant. It came out that these guys are in negotiations to fight at the top of 2026. They say it's a grudge match. This fight lost some luster because Caleb Plant lost to Resendez. Charlo won his fight against Cornflake. And I'm still with it, but now since the titles are vacant, I don't know what this is gonna mean for this fight. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mind seeing it, you know what I'm saying? I don't know which card is gonna go on. I know Charlo said January 31st. I'm not sure which card that's gonna go on. Like I can't see them on the undercard of Shakur versus Tio. You know what I'm saying? I can see them on the PBC platform, maybe on the undercard if they do. I can see them on the undercard of Ryan Garcia and Barrios. Then I can see them on Shakur and Teofimo. But we'll have to see. But Charlo and Plant are both former world champions. Charlo just got to 168. He undefeated, you know what I'm saying, former two division champions, 54, 60. Been inactive, but he's a guy that's active, and if he's active and motivated, he's a tough out. You know what I'm saying? And Caleb Plant, former world champion, IBF champion, I think he's kind of faded though. You know what I'm saying? He ain't taking the punches the same. But we're gonna have to see if those guys gonna actually fight. You know, so that's what it is. And my last one contender, right, that I want to mention, because there's a lot of contenders and we can talk more about them, but this one right here, Beg the Bully. Beg the Bully won a WBA eliminator in his last fight against Darius Fugum. And he's up there. I think he's number 2 in the WBA. We're going to take a look at it. He's close to a world title shot, haven't got that opportunity. He's a guy, he fights with, he's on Golden Boy, haven't got a world title opportunity, but it should be getting close. So we'll see. All right, so 168, as you guys can see, with or without Crawford, it's a good division. You know what I'm saying? There's other names I didn't even mention that can make a run as well. So those my guys right there that's in contention for a world title shot, either next for the vacant title or maybe they get a title shot later on this year. So we're gonna look into these rankings, man. Salute to everybody coming through the building. Smash on that like button, man. We're getting some education. You know what I'm saying? We're just trying to make sure everybody is good to go with this division since Crawford left. All right, we're gonna start with the IBF. So we know Iglesias is the number 1 contender. He's the mandatory. Now this one, I'm starting with him because he might be his path to the vacant title might be kind of crazy because he's not the most sought after guy. Now I ain't calling nobody no boogeyman. I ain't saying that shit. But not a lot of guys is rushing to fight him. You know what I'm saying? He got a difficult style. Him and Morrell fight real similar to me, but he a little bit more vicious to me, if that's even possible. But Iglesias, he's gonna fight for a vacant title. Once the IBF is officially vacant, Iglesias for sure. Now, his last fight against Vladimir Shishkin, I suggested to the promoters that they should do it for the IBF interim because I knew Crawford weren't gonna fight the winner. That's one. Two, Iglesias seemed to have a hard time getting fights. So to kind of bypass all that, if he would have won the interim title, now that Crawford about to vacate and he about to retire, he retired and vacate, then he can get elevated to full IBF champion. That was my thinking of that. But it is what it is. So let's see who will accept the vacant title opportunity. Let's go down. You think Canelo would take that at this stage of his career? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think a vacant title means that much to fight Iglesias for Canelo. You feel me? I'm gonna say no. Jaime Munguia, I mean, he seems like a guy that got better options than want to go to Iglesias. I don't know. Callum Simpson, now he's the dark horse in this because if he wins on Saturday, he don't really got too much motion going on, but he's close to a world title opportunity if he wins. So if Canelo and Munguia turns it down, I think Callum Simpson will probably be the one. You know what I'm saying? So let's see. He's with Boxer. Those guys, they lost their big deal with Sky Sports. I'm not sure how that's gonna shape. I know he has a big draw. He's a big draw in his area in England. Like he bring them out. He did a stadium fight before, so maybe that's the allure to get Iglesias over there because Iglesias is not a big name, not a big star. He fights in Canada, and I think he'll probably be willing or he may have to go to the UK to fight for the vacant title. So we'll see. Isn't Iglesias scheduled to fight Socceris? Well, that's the rumor, and that's what that was out there, but we haven't seen nothing official. You know what I'm saying? We haven't seen that official. Can the IBF just make that title vacant? The title will become vacant, um, but I'm not sure how they're gonna do this now. Um, I'm pretty sure if they probably put that in for that and say, hey, since the title is vacant, if that fight is already made, I'm not 100% sure if Iglesias and Socceris is made. If it's made, and then they go to the IBF and say, hey, make it for the vacant title, and then I fight a man, whatever. Then I think that could happen. I think that can happen. But if it's not done, then they're just going to go to the top two guys that's available. So that's what I got on that. I don't know. I know that's been the rumor and that's been the talks that that's the fight that's going to happen on a Riyadh season card. So let's see. Let's see if it's done. Because if it's done, then it's probably going to come out pretty soon that, you know what I'm saying, they're going to fight for the vacant title. Hamza Shiraz, I'm gonna say no for him against for the IBF because he got other options. If it get down to number 7, Sagani, I think he'll take it. Same with Zuckerhammer from Germany. I think they'll take it. Simon is supposed to fight on that German card January the 10th on Caball's undercard. William Skull, now he's far down. I'm not sure if it's going to get to him, but he has a fight coming up January 31st against Jacob Bank. And then Bruno Socceris, like my man was talking about, that there's rumor that Iglesias and Socceris is done. If it's done, I can see it being for the vacant title. Kevin Saljo, he'll probably drop or maybe stay the same. But, he's a long way away. And these other guys I'm not even going to mention because they're too far down for a vacant title. But eventually they can climb their way up if they want to fight Iglesias. You know what I'm saying? I think Iglesias is going to, whoever he fights, I think he'll become the IBF champion in this instance. All right. WBA. So we have an interim champion in the WBA and Jose Armando Resendez. So we know he beat Caleb Plant for that title. So the WBA will elevate Resendez. Now, who will he fight next? It's been a big thing about him fighting Berlanga. That's been the news and the talks about him fighting Berlanga. They said early in 2026. We'll have to see. Maybe shit change. I'm not sure. Not sure what even card this would be on, but this has been the talks. But going back to the WBA rankings, right? It's interesting because Canelo, because Canelo got a lot of power. If he want to, he can fight for that. He can fight Resendez for his title. You know what I'm saying? Maybe do that shit on, I don't know, whenever he's ready to come back. I could see that, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If he's still out until at least May, I'm not sure if he'll be next because Resendez might have a fight before then. But we'll see. Canelo, he got a lot of power. He can make a play. If whatever belt he want to do, he can do it. But I don't see him. If Canelo gonna fight for a vacant belt, it'll probably be against the lowest risk. That's what I see. You know what I'm saying? The low hanging fruit guy. And I think that's Resendez. That's a fight. And you know what I'm saying, that he'll probably take if he want it. You know what I'm saying? Beck the Bully won an eliminator. So in conventional wisdom, he should be like at least the mandatory. If Resendez is gonna fight Berlanga, he should at least be the mandatory for the winner. Spoke on Charlo. Charlo and Resendez was a fight that was, talked about because it made sense because Caleb Plant lost. So why fight the loser, fight the winner? But they talking about him fighting Caleb Plant. And Hamza Shiraz, I feel like he got options, but I don't think it's gonna be with the WBA. Darius Fulgham is a good fighter. He's coming off a bad type of performance in his last fight against David Stevens, but he's still solid. We talked about Callum Simpson fighting on Saturday. Sagani, he fights in Russia. Pacheco, so Pacheco a little bit too far down. I like Beck Nurmagomedov. He's a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not sure. And these other guys, other than Berlanga, because Berlanga has Keith Conley. He can get an opportunity above these guys at the bottom of the rankings. So we'll see. If this the fight, I mean, shit, which card would it go on? It actually makes sense to go on the New York card, the NYC card in January the 31st. Teofimo versus Shakur because Berlanga he's from New York. So that would help out the crowd and bring out, the Puerto Ricans. I'm not sure. I can also see it as part of when PBC is doing a co-promotional thing with Barrios and Ryan Garcia with Golden Boy. Maybe this one of the fights that they pick. Maybe it's Resendez versus Beck the Bully. I don't know. But them talking about this, there got to be some legs to it. We'll have to see. You know what I'm saying? If Resendez will get upgraded, and Berlanga he get a world title shot. So that's boxing. That's how that should be working. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. Still more to follow. JC, what's good with you, bro? Salute to you. All right, keep it pushing. Let's get to the WBO. So the WBO, you know, they don't have an interim champion. Canelo is number one. So like I said, he pretty much got free reign in the divisions that he's number one in, or even the IBF. If he choose to do any of these fights, Canelo can get a world title shot first. The big name, and he's number one across the board. So Hamza Shiraz is number two. This is the route I actually think he's going to go. I was thinking Beck versus Resendez. I can see that if Berlanga don't got the fight. You know what I'm saying? Beck is with Golden Boy. Um, that I can see that. But Hamza Shiraz. So I know the WBC ordered him versus Billy, but I can see him versus Pacheco. You know what I'm saying? And look, they kind of gave their hand away because right after Pacheco's fight, they posted this. Basically breaking news. Riyadh Season is interested in this fight for February. And that's kind of a quick turnaround for Pacheco. He went through a tough ass fight with Sajo. Will he be ready in time to fight February the 14th, Riyadh Season, right before Ramadan? I'm not sure. But they posted that for a reason. And now, as we're looking at it, maybe Hamza Shiraz and Pacheco is for that. You know what I'm saying? I can see that. Because, well, we know this. Pacheco will more than likely fight for the vacant WBO. You know what I'm saying? Canelo is the domino effect. Once he decides on what he's going to do or what he's not going to do, and then these other guys is basically going to be up for grabs to get these vacant titles. But what I suspect, because he can only go for one vacant title, Canelo. So which one will he go for if he decides to go for it? I think Hamza Shiraz and Diego Pacheco, that's the fight. Let's see if they can make it for February the 14th. That's a quick turnaround. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. That's interesting though. But like I said, like that's why I like to pay attention to everybody's social media because when they drop this, I'm like, damn. Then the WBC just ordered uh, Hamza Shiraz and Billy, and y'all talking about Pacheco. That's interesting. And they tapped in with Crawford, so maybe they already knew the play. So, you know what I'm saying? We'll see. Seeing boxing. What's good with you, bro? Salute. All right, so we have Jacob Bank. So he has a very important fight against William Score coming up January 31st. He's number 4. So basically, he'd be fighting for an unofficial eliminator. You know what I'm saying? He can probably get the winner. Like I said, he has the same. He has the same manager as Tyson Fury, John Bataya, Joseph Parker, all these guys. Fabio Worley. No, I don't think Fabio Worley. No, he don't got Fabio Worley. But he's with Spencer Brown, who is working side by side with Turkey and Queensberry, so he can get an opportunity. What would they do with M. Billy though? Oh yeah, we're gonna get there, bro. Hang tight. I got you. I got you. You know what I'm saying for sure. WC is next. But probably somebody, I'm gonna say Luca Planet right now. This to answer your question. My guess is maybe Luca Planet, maybe Jaime McGee. But we're gonna take a look at the WBC rankings, and then you can see what I'm talking about. So these other guys after Jacob Bank probably won't get an opportunity at a vacant title. So I can see, like I said, Hamza Shiraz and Diego Pacheco for the vacant WBO. So we'll have to see. All right, WBC. I got you covered right here, right on cue. So Christian and Billy is the WBC interim champion. The WBC will not. They didn't elevate him when they stripped Crawford. They ordered M. Billy to fight uh, Hamza Shiraz. So if Shiraz has a decision to make, right? He can either, if he's going to stay with the WBC route, he'll fight M. Billy. If we go WBO, he'll fight somebody else. So that leaves M. Billy without an opponent. So if we gonna believe the fact we're gonna believe what Eddie Reynoso said, that Canelo ain't coming back until at least September, then we'll take Canelo out. Lester Martinez got a fight coming up in March. Now he supposed to fight on Pro Box against the French guy, Diambe, I believe. If he's still going to take that fight, then it's going to go past him. But it's a possibility that he'd be like, you know what, I take the fight with Billy in a rematch, which was a great fight. But from my understanding, he's going to stick with his plan and do the pro box thing. But we'll have to see though, because the WBC and they order a lot of fights, but they don't always come together. Now they ordered Billy versus Shiraz, and Lester Martinez got to fight the winner, right? So now conventional wisdom tell us it should be Billy versus Lester Martinez for the vacant WBC title, but it's up to Lester Martinez because he already have a fight signed. He supposed to fight sometime in March in Southern California. So if he's not willing to come off that date, then they'll go down the line and pick who's next. You know what I'm saying? I hope I answered your question, Robert Brown. So if we going down the line, you got Jaime Munguia. All right, Jaime Munguia, Christian and Billy. That's been a fight. Those guys been circling each other. They've both been on top rank. That's a good fight too. That'll be fun. Luca Planet. I said his name because Jaime Munguia was ordered to fight Luca Planet. If Jaime don't want to take the fight with Christian and Billy, and as we've seen in recent times, it looked like they've been circling each other. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Looked like that fight wasn't available to happen on Jaime's side. So that's why I said number 5, Luca Planet. If I'm pretty sure he would take the opportunity to face Christian and Billy. So that's why I mentioned that. You got Pacheco, number 6, so he's a little bit far down. He's more closer to a title shot at the WBO than the WBC. There's a couple of names in front of him that has to say no. And then as you go down the list, most of these guys probably going to go a different route anyway. So we'll see. Now the WBC is tricky. Mess around. Jamal Charlo can mess around, petition, and say, "Hey, I want to fight in Billy for the vacant title." You know what I'm saying? They've been showing him a lot of favor throughout his career. That's a possibility. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. So that's why I think it's so interesting how these guys are gonna move. You know what I'm saying? The domino effect is in play with this. He said, "Oh, my bus. I thought you was on WBC. Now I got you covered." Yeah, Martinez need to do that rematch since he already ordered it. Yeah, they ordered him to fight the winner of Shiraz and Billy. So since that fight may not happen, he should jump the queue. But if he got a fight date already planned and already in contracts, it's not as easy just to break that contract and go fight in Billy. You know what I'm saying? When he already in position to fight him anyway, I mean, that's what I see. But we'll see what's going to happen after that. So what I get from all of this, though, the domino effect and all of this is Canelo. Blue Hustle, man, what's good with you, bro? The domino effect and all this shit is Canelo because he's number 1 across the board. If Canelo any route that he want to go, he can go, and he's the man still. They can pick and choose what he want to do. So let's say Canelo is out the picture. You know what I'm saying? Then the next guy that got all the options is Hamza Shiraz. Hamza Shiraz can go any route that he want to go. Even the IBF if he choose to, but I don't believe he's going to go the IBF route against Iglesias. I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's maybe better routes for him that makes more sense for him, the WBC or the WBO. And reason why Hamza got a lot of options because he's with Turkey and he's with Frank Warren. They got him in position where he's probably the man to beat, quote unquote. Everybody gonna try to fight him. After Canelo, he might be the cash cow per se. So that means when you're the cash cow, everybody call your name out. You know what I'm saying? From the lower divisions to the higher divisions. So we're gonna see. And really the moves is gonna depend on what Canelo does first and then Hamza Shiraz. Then we'll have a big domino effect. Um, yes, sir. He said, Do you get the feeling that Canelo would come back earlier than September now that the fight on Cinco de Mayo? I don't know. I don't know. I think Canelo is 1 foot out the game, definitely. But maybe he'll come back Cinco de Mayo now to fight one of these guys for a title or something like that. We'll have to see. But I don't know how the timeline gonna work because these guys, once those titles become vacant, these guys is in position. They're gonna want to fight for their title right away. Like Iglesias, for example. Iglesias won the world title like yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And we go back to I'm gonna go back to the IBF rankings. I mean, a lot of guys, those top 2 or 3 guys, I don't see them facing Iglesias. So it'll probably get to Callum Simpson if he wins. If not, maybe the Russian. So I don't know the timeline on this shit. You know what I'm saying? But I do know everything gonna start falling into place when Canelo make up his mind, because they're gonna start ordering these guys to fight. You know what I'm saying? Ordering these vacant titles, and he is a big domino. And then Hamza Shiraz, and after that, I think it'll start falling in line. Pacheco may fight for a vacant title. Uh, Resendez get elevated. Like I said, the potential of Resendez versus Berlanga. Man, it's so much. It's like up in the air, and that's kind of exciting with this division because you don't know what's gonna happen, and it got some good names. This is a perfect time for them to bring back like the World Boxing Super Series for this division because it got vacant titles everywhere. So, in a perfect world, as a boxing fan, we like tournaments. Most of us like tournaments, especially with the top guys. If they put all the top guys in that 8-man tournament, the mandatories, the interim champions, and then at the end of all of this, and like the top guy after the mandatory, top 2 guys per se, put them all in the tournament, 8-man tournament, and see who comes out undisputed. That'd be dope. But this the business of boxing. That shit ain't gonna happen. These guys is gonna vie for their position. Like Resendez is a world champion, right? He might be the maybe even like once it's all said and done, he might be one of the weaker champions in the division, even though he beat Caleb Plant, just off of name recognitions and stuff like that. But if he fight Berlanga, I know Berlanga people are down on him, but what if he becomes WBA champion? You know what I'm saying? We never know in this game. It's not like Resendez was this crazy ass fighter before he beat Caleb Plant. Like it wasn't like that. I think it was more so salute to him. He did a good job winning that fight. But nobody coming into that was thinking that he was gonna do what he did to Caleb Plant. It was more so Caleb Plant looking like a faded fighter than Resendez looking like this great ultra fighter. You know what I'm saying? So that tells me it's other guys around his level that probably can beat him. And just because, Berlanga get a bad rap, that don't mean that he can't beat Resendez. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. And if those guys gonna fight, it's pretty much 50-50, no matter how you want to cut it. Even though Berlanga coming off a knockout loss to Hamza Shiraz, that don't necessarily mean that Resendez is gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro, it's interesting. I want to see what's gonna happen for sure. I think Turkey and all of them would like to see Canelo Shiraz, but I don't know if Canelo would take it. I know they're trying to do Hamza Shiraz February the 14th. So if he can get a vacant title, let's say the WBO, and then I guess Canelo. Well, I don't think Canelo come back that soon. So maybe they could do that down the line if that's a fight they want to do. I love that tournament idea Bison need to make. He said boxing needs that to take the steam out of Zuffa. Now I don't think they got to worry about Zuffa or Jake. There's 2 different type of things. Um, if both of those guys, or both of those promotion companies, this is how I look at it. If they both in there doing their thing and bringing eyes to the sport, it's good. But I don't even think it's a competition because Zuffa ain't signing like no top crazy names from my understanding. I mean Carlos Ocampo and who? That's the latest signing. Maybe he gonna fight Callum Wash on January 31st. I mean, that's not nothing to knock our socks off. That's like overtime boxing. That's not even competing with pro box. So I don't know about the competing with them type of thing, but a tournament idea for basically all divisions would be dope for me. You know what I'm saying? Because it creates everybody got to fight each other. That's one thing we won't have to worry about. If you're in a tournament, we know you got to fight that dude. If he's on the other side of the bracket, you got to fight him. That type shit. But yeah, that Jake Paul shit, that shit gonna continue to happen. You know, especially how he kind of stockpile on women's boxing. And yeah, Zuffa, let him come on. I mean, we all eyes gonna be on Zuffa boxing when they open up their first show January January 23rd. We're gonna see what it's about. So yeah, man, this is interesting with the super middleweight division. You know, when you get a undisputed champion in that division, it kind of holds it up, especially when when the champion is not making title defenses or he picking and choosing. A lot of the times when you get an undisputed champion in the four belt era, these guys only stick around maybe one fight, maybe. And if you get two, they basically all time greats because they don't normally stay that long because the politics of boxing gonna start calling. You know what I'm saying? You have the sanction bodies gonna start coming. You always got a mandatory and some type of you got a mandatory somewhere. The IBF always the first one to come get their belt from the undisputed champion. If you guys remember the history of it, they always coming. So with Crawford retiring, that opens up a door for a lot of guys though to kind of get in position. You feel me? And like I named, we got like about 10 guys that can possibly become world champion. And then even guys that I didn't name or that I didn't mention that was so high in the rankings, they can get opportunities. So that's a good thing about this. And I respect it. If you're not going to fight again in the division, you might as well just vacate. You know what I'm saying? And get going with it. When Crawford did pay his sanction fees to the WBC, I think that was a writing on the wall too. Because when you vacate one belt, all the other mandatories are looking at their sanction by like, bro, you gonna strip him too? Like the IBF, we know Iglesias is a guy that Crawford not gonna fight. So if you vacate titles, I'm pretty sure his team got with the IBF and said, bro, what y'all doing? Y'all gonna either order the fight, put pressure on him, or you gonna guarantee me an opportunity at a vacant title soon or something like that. So yeah, bro, I'm kind of glad he retired. And the thing with Crawford too, a lot of people, man, look, people should be celebrating this on both ends. His fans, because what I'm saying, he gave his all. He was, he did his thing as a boxing fan. Like I'm kind of happy that he able to go out the way he want to go out. His haters should be happy too because they couldn't stand him. You know what I'm saying? All this shit all the slander over the years, accusing him of PEDs, all types of crazy shit they've been doing. Now they don't have to do it no more. You know what I'm saying? Now you don't have to you don't have to worry about creating content and creating thumbnails about a guy that you hate. Because look, if you don't fuck with somebody, I don't understand why people talk about him all the time. You know what I'm saying? So that's one less thing you have to worry about. So that's a good thing on their end. And then just overall, bro, been boxing damn near all his life. And just to, do it, accomplish everything he accomplished and just ride off like he want to ride off, that's dope. Everybody wish they can do that. And whatever form of life and occupation that you do, everybody want to do that. So, man, that's what's up, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to come back. Could you see Tim Zoo and Lubin happening? Nah, I don't see that happening. Nope. They passed that. I don't see it happening. It's interesting for sure. Could be some good fights for the belts. Yeah. When Plant Charlo and when Berlanga Resendez, I don't know if you said that could be possibility. Those guys fight. That's typically a PBC belt. I spoke on it. These guys are technically in negotiations. Not sure where they're gonna fight, but yeah, if they fight and then the winner of this, then yeah, I can see that. That's a PBC belt, the WBA. So I can definitely see it. But it's so many scenarios that's in play. We don't, you know, so that's the intriguing part about it. So we'll see. Uh, but this division is hot though, because even before Crawford retired, I'm high on Billy. I'm high on Iglesias. You know what I'm saying? Pacheco, I'm still high on him. You know, I think he had a tough 2025. You know, he fought three good fighters, yo. Those fighters that he fought had a great record. It's only one loss, and these guys, I don't know how many wins, but they had a lot of wins. I think at least over 60 wins, and only one loss. And Steve Nelson, Trevor McCumbee, coming off a solid performance and a loss to Caleb Plant, and then he beat Kevin Sajo. So yeah, we like to write him off because he got dropped and whatever, and he was doing a lot of holding. It wasn't like the most prettiest fight, but as a young man, you need tough fights like that. I'd rather him have that fight right now at 25 than have that fight for a world title when he's 26, 27. So Pacheco's in the mix. He was number one contender with the WBO last year. Crawford came up to 68 and took his position to fight Canelo. So he's still there. They be saying we believe we're Bob Wars. Yeah, they've been rocking with those belts. You know what I'm saying? They're giving their guys opportunities, to become to say you're a world champion. That's the flex of the fighter. Any fighter, that's their biggest flex to walk around a casino after a fight with a belt wrapped around their, on their shoulder. That's a flex. So that's just promoter looking out for them. Let me see. Let me go back. So we recapping right now. And Billy, another interesting guy. Fun, action packed fighter. You know what I'm saying? Him and Lester Martinez put on a great show. He was ordered to fight Hamza Shiraz. Will that fight happen now? I'm not sure. Like I said, Hamza has options. WBO route, I think that's the one. You know what I'm saying? With Pacheco, I can see that happening. I'm not sure if it's going to be for February. That's a kind of tight turnaround for Pacheco coming off a tough fight. But if he ain't, it did that trainer. I ain't rocking with Pacheco's trainer. You know what I'm saying? That's just my preference. I ain't rocking with him. But in Billy, he's gonna be affected by. He's affected the most by Canelo and Canelo and Hamza Shiraz. He's affected the most because they are high in the rankings with the WBC, as you see. Canelo number one. With Canelo taking Billy next, that would be a fun fight. He'll make Canelo work, but that's the type of style Canelo like. A guy coming forward where he's a natural counterpuncher and he can display those skills. Hamza Shiraz, if he go down the WBO route, and then they're gonna start going down the line. It's gonna be a process of elimination because Lester Martinez, like I mentioned earlier, he got a fight date on Pro Box. He was supposed the WBC ordered him to face the winner of Billy and Shiraz. If Shiraz not available, it makes sense to do Billy versus Lester, right? The rematch. But I'm not sure the timeline of these guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Billy want to be world champion like yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they pick Jaime Murguia. That's a fight that they've been circling each other and then going down the line. So like I said, a lot of these guys are in interesting situations. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Just to recap some more. Um, Resendez, you know he's definitely in an interesting type of situation because his two biggest fights possibly can be with Berlanga because if that's like a Riyadh season card type of fight, that can be maybe a good bag for him. And then Charlo. So, and maybe Caleb Plant, they run it back. I guess Caleb Plant then exercises rematch clause. But he got options, but he might be more stagnant to fight certain fighters. So he probably already have his fights locked in. And it might be, like I said, they're talking about him and Berlanga. And then my man made had asked a good question, $150. Maybe the winners fight each other. So it seems like he may be locked in with a couple of fights already, given that he's kind of like a champion out of nowhere. because they didn't expect him to beat Caleb Plant. So yeah, that's what's up with that. And then Magia might be one of the bigger names, and he's he kind of got to get back in the groove of things with that PED and the PED situation. He's clear from that. He beat Bruno Saras, but I'm not sure what his plan is. So yeah, bro, y'all stay tuned, man. 168 is basically getting flipped upside down. They reshuffling the deck. The guys at the top is in a great position. That's why I always say when I do my ranking shows and I get to a division that has an undisputed champion, I always say the guys underneath need to go ahead and get in position, do some eliminators, do some interim title fights. That way, when that champion, undisputed champion, start to vacate belts, you already in position. You feel me? And this is a prime example of that. You know what I'm saying? Because Resendez would have never got elevated to full champion if it's on the old system. Somebody else probably would have leapfrogged him and whatever. So, and the same thing with Billy. And Billy became interim champion. And they still ain't elevate him. But he's in position to fight for the vacant title. So, yeah, man, we're going to see. We're going to follow this closely and cover this all the way to the end. There's some good shit that can happen, though. Some good fights. I would love to see Berlinger Resendez on Shakur T.O. card. They already got Hitchens, Shushu. I mean, why not add that on there too? You know what I'm saying? It ain't like Hitchens and those guys is like they ain't bigger stars than Berlinger is. So might as well add that on there too. You know, the more the merrier. But from what I was understanding, Berlinger and Resendez, if it's done, that's a PBC show. So I'm not sure how that's working. But sure, load it up because look, every other week we gotta pay for a pay per view. So I'd be more inclined and more willing to pay for a pay per view if the card is stacked. You feel me? So along with these fights that you name, Amo Williams versus Carlos Adamas, maybe even Mark Masayo versus Manisi. You know what I'm saying? So put all those fights on pay per view, and we gotta pay $79.99, $80. You might as well stack the damn card. So if they're gonna add Berlanga and Resendez to already stacked card, let's bring it. I also heard Stephen Shaw is trying to fight Big Baby Miller on that card. Man, put that shit on there and put all that shit on pay per view, and we'll let us get our money's worth. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the times it be pay per view. It's only one fight that we interested in. You know what I'm saying? But the last couple of pay per views though been cool. I got my money's worth. Roach and Pitbull, even though that Lara fight was crazy, and then the Benavidez card. Yeah, I felt vindicated watching that. You know what I'm saying? Jahad Tucker's from NY. Two put him on there against Daniel. I mean, shoot, that's cool. I'm with that fight too. You know what I'm saying? I'm with it. If that's what Top Rank trying to do for both of those guys, I'm with it. That's a good fight. So that's what it is, man. Y'all stay tuned. We're gonna make sure we covering this all the way through. Once these fights get announced and once they start to like once we start to see a clear picture, then we'll see what's what. The new WBO rankings will be out pretty soon, so probably next week. And then the WBA, their new rankings will be out the end of the month. And then the WBC and IBF will follow suit shortly after the new year. So we'll get a better indication then, but we might get a lot of words now because it's been a lot of cards that have been talked about, but we haven't really got a lot of details about. Like for example, the Riyadh season card, February the 14th. We all know Riyadh season like to close out their year right before Ramadan. I think Ramadan starts like February the 17th this year on MJ and Loma's birthday. So they normally do. So they haven't. Really haven't heard a lot of details about that card. You know what I'm saying? So maybe this right here with the super middleweight division, maybe some of those fights can get made for that card. You know what I'm saying? Especially like Hamza Shiraz, even Jaime Munguia. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Jaime Munguia comes back in a vacant title fight. We never know. So it's real interesting. I did hear that and Billy and Iglesias was supposed to fight on the Shakur Teofimo card, but maybe that should slide to Riyadh season against their potential opponents for their vacant title fights. So we can possibly see maybe at least two or three, maybe three. I'm gonna say two for sure. We can see at least two world title fights, super middleweight world title fights on the Riyadh season card. I think it's possible. And Billy, let's say and Billy versus Munguia. You know what I'm saying? That would be fun. That'd be fun. Hamza Shiraz versus Pacheco if Pacheco is ready. Iglesias versus what is it, Socceris? If they gonna fight, that's cool. If that fight is done, they can if they can make that for the vacant IBF. I'm pretty sure the IBF will approve of it if they got a deal done. So we have a potential to have three world title fights on the same card. You know what I'm saying? That'd be dope for boxing fans. And then we'll get a little bit of clarity on who we think is the best guy at 168 after those three fights. If that's the case. You know, that's just me matchmaking and throwing shit out. You feel me? So yo, man, it's good times because 2026 look like it's gonna be all to a great start. We have a great January, one of the best Januaries in boxing in the recent history. As y'all remember, January is like a lightweight month because of the NFL playoffs and all types of shit. So January don't really be popping like that. Maybe one or two fights on the back end. You know what I'm saying? But this year, next year, January is popping. I'm with it for real. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think most boxing fans would be with a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? I understand the business of boxing and all that shit, but sometimes throw that shit out the way for the gratitude of the fans. Because, they running pay per views of that ass like crazy. Like, just think on this shit though. January 31st, we get a pay per view with, you know what I'm saying, with Shakur Tifimo. February the 14th, we'll probably get one with the Riyadh season. February 21st, we getting one with Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios. I don't know about on the 28th. You know what I'm saying? So that's like three pay-per-views within a month. So that's breaking pockets. You feel me? That's breaking pockets. But, you know, we boxing fans. So we love this shit. So we gonna find a way to watch it at the end of the day. But it just to entice us more than stack the card and then promote that shit like you want us to tap in for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like you really want us to tap in. But like I ain't gonna lie, I love this shit, right? I love this boxing shit, but I draw lines too. it may sound funny to a lot of y'all too, but I draw lines too. Like if a fight about to happen and they rarely promoted it, like no social media, no content, no interviews, no nothing, bro. I might give you the results, but I ain't really watching that shit. Like I only cared about Jaleel Hackett's fight. I watched that shit, but the other fights, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? No, they didn't promote that. A lot of people didn't even know that fight was happening. That card was happening until I spoke on it. So I'm like, bro, y'all like how y'all are promoters and y'all boxers, y'all not even trying to tell us when you got fights coming up and you want us to talk about you know what I'm saying? Like, how are we even going to speak on what you're doing that we don't even know when you fight? And you're not even trying to tell us. January normally a week. It's weak for real. So hyped that we haven't had a bad December. December is normally weak too, because we in the holiday season and shit. But they don't care. You know what I'm saying? They gonna throw a pay per view at you, no matter what it is. So yeah, man, interesting stuff, man. Another like Callum Simpson. Before I go, he's fighting this weekend. So I ain't gonna lie, his fight. Let me go back to it real quick before I close it out. His fight just got more interesting to me based on how highly ranked he is in the IBF. And I don't think those two guys ahead of him is going to take that fight with Iglesias. If Callum Simpson wins, I can see, man, he is in a good position to take it because he got the triple crown in the UK. He's the European champion, Commonwealth, and British. That's the triple crown before you enter world honors, right? Before you become a world champion. All the greats in the UK done it. So once he beat Troy Williamson, let's see. He's on the clock, and I think I can see that fight. They might as well just leapfrog him above Canelo and Jaime Munguia because I don't see them taking the fight against the Iglesias. But at least with Cal Simpson being able to fill out a soccer stadium or have the potential to fill it out, maybe that can lure Iglesias over to the UK. So, man, interesting shit, bro. Salute to everybody coming through the building, tapping in with the conversation. Hopefully, you guys got something out of this and kind of give you a another way to look at the super middleweight division after Crawford. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a lot of what ifs, but at least we have some type of map and a guideline on what could happen next. So we're gonna stay tuned and see what's next. You guys can tap in with me on my social media, scrolling across the bottom. I appreciate it for sure. Cause Simpson asked to be a last. Cause Simpson asked at the last minute now to fight for the number 2 eliminator. Yeah, I don't think he could. No, because Williamson is not ranked, and the IBF don't do that shit. If this was the WBC and the WBA, I would say yeah, but the IBF don't fuck around like that. You know what I'm saying? But he might be in a position where with this win he can leapfrog at least Jaime Munguia. You feel me? Let's go back to it real quick. I don't think he got enough juice by being Troy Williamson to leapfrog Canelo, but maybe he can leapfrog Jaime Munguia because Munguia been inactive, and you know what I'm saying. So maybe in the next rankings, maybe Simpson is number 4, and then that would pretty much guarantee him a vacant title fight because we all know Canelo not fighting Iglesias. We know that. If any other fight that I mentioned, a potential fight, that's the one fight that I don't see happening. I'll be shocked as hell if that does happen. So yeah, bro, let's see. Interesting stuff. Salute to everybody coming through the building. I appreciate it. Make sure you guys tap in with this fight week. We got a big fight week. You can tap into the schedule on my website, ldubsboxing.com. Stay up to date. You know what I'm saying? See what's going on in the world of boxing. I got you covered. Peace out. I appreciate you, bro, coming through. Appreciate you, man. Salute to you. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure everybody's straight with this information. Salute to you, bro. Hope to see you again for sure. Hopefully everybody have a good night. That's my time, and I'm out.